Hello, good morning. I nearly said good evening then. Good morning. It's a lovely one again out there, isn't it? So today we were going to, I've got a really itchy arm all of a sudden. Today we are going to be playing with our poly plates. It is basically, we're going to be doing what we did at the Motorcycle Museum on Saturday, but I've had lots and lots of questions on how to do it, so I'm going to re-show you today how to use poly plates and your distress inks. Now, I'm saying I'm using my distress inks. Basically, you want any ink that's water-based. So you could even use those £1 pens from the pound shop, you know. But I like to use my distress inks because they've got lovely colours. I know my colour combinations. And yeah, I just like working with my distress inks. And if you ever have any struggles with pulling together your colour combinations for your distress inks or oxides, head on over to our website and you will see in our inspiration section some colour combinations. I will keep adding to those as well. I hadn't thought to add in distress inks. I keep looking at my distress inks for our poly plates, but I think that's a really good idea, so I will be adding to them over time as well. So should we get going? I think so. I have just got, she says, there we go, that's the one. I have just got some very plain pieces of paper. I think it's actually A5. It's been A4 chopped in half. And it's just ordinary 300 GSM white wove. It's what I use all the time when I'm crafting. It is my go-to card. A few of you have asked if I can pop a little bit on the website, and I will do after this. So if you want to get your hands on a little bit, I can give you some to try. And then I have gone to my go-to colours today. So I have got cracked pistachio, peacock feathers, and pit raspberry. These are my go-to polyplate backgrounds because I know no matter what happens, I will get a really nice print from these. I might swap out the pit raspberry for a bit of wilted violet if I'm looking for something a little bit more mystical or magical. But these are my go-to colours. I know I'm going to get a nice image from these, and I know they're just going to work, and they create a really nice card as well because I can pick out little each of the colours. So for example, I might decide I want a pink flower or a blue one, but they do work really well together. So those are my inks. Let me move that out of the way as well. I'm going to pop them to one side. I don't know if you can quite see that. Yes, you can. I know my computer's, I'm not going to say the words, I'm going to touch some wood instead. There we go. And I have got on here our A6 rectangle. Again, it's just what we were working with at weekend. And what I am actually going to do is, if it'll let me, no, it's a little bit chilly. Basically, they do stick really, really well. So if yours gets stuck like mine is at the moment, you just need to make sure it's nice and warm. So give it a bit of a cuddle. We normally say huff on it, you know, breathe on it to make it nice and warm. And then it should come off a bit easier. And what I wanted to show you, morning mum. It is a great day out there, isn't it? That weather is amazing. So when you come to put your poly plates on, because they are a huge stamp, you want to make sure they've got no bubbles underneath them. Now this one has, if you look here. The reason we don't want bubbles is because it will move the ink around a bit more, so you want it to be perfectly flat. So the best way to do that is actually if I show you, isn't it? Bear with while I get my poly plate off. Ooh. And you can see I am really pulling, or I'm just really, oh, there we go, nearly halfway. Oh, there we go, I did it. So all I've got is a really big stamp base. Our poly mounts, we haven't got any in stock at the moment, but we will be getting some more shortly. We have got them on order to be cut. So to put your poly plate on, you want to pop it down at the bottom, and then all I'm going to do is roll it on like that, so I don't get any bubbles on underneath. Yep. So when I do my print, I know I'm not setting myself up to fail. I know I've got a nice smooth background. Yep. Now what you'll have noticed as well, because I hugged this and I've got a big fluffy jumper on, I've now got bits on it, so I'm just going to give it a quick clean. And it's always a good idea, oh there we go, you can see all the bits on it. it's always a good idea to just give your polyplate a quick clean, because they will pick up any dust or that's in the air and things, because they are quite sticky and they like to grab things. So you can see all that. I'm sure that hasn't all come off my jumper right now. It might have done. So I'm just giving it a quick wash, and that was just water I've used, nothing extra, just a little bit of water. And I'm just going to rub off those dirty bits. There we go. It's all just fluff. It could be my jumper actually. I didn't realise my jumper was quite so fluffy. Just a little bit there, so I'm just going to grab that bit again. And you'll notice I did take acetate off mine, so you can see it does just grab dust from the air. So just give it a quick doo. So we are all good to go. There we go. Right, so colours we're now going to go to. We're going to add our colours on, and you'll notice I have got my 3 laid out. I'm in the order I'm going to put them on my plate. So I've got my crap pistachio, my peacock feathers, and then I've got my pit raspberry. And with my crap pistachio, I am going to cover the whole thing. Now you might say, why are you covering the whole thing when you only want splodges of it? Well, it's because it gives me a base. Yeah, if I miss any bits when I put my ink down, especially when you do things like an ombre, it will have a colour there. So if you always colour it with your base colour, there we go, you know you're going to get colour. Yep. And then we're going to add a little bit of peacock feathers, so I'm just going to smoosh that over. There we go, until we're happy with it. It's one of those, isn't it, where you try and go for random, but it doesn't really work, because you always end up kind of splodging in similar places. And then this one, I'm only going to do a couple of little bits of. There we go. And now it comes to spritzing. So I want to add water to this. You could do a print like that and you get all that lovely texture, but I want it to mix and merge together, because I think that's where polyplates really come into their own. So I'm going to take my water, so just my ordinary spritzer with my water in, and then I'm going to spritz. Now I'm not going to do this because then all that water is just going to go into puddles on my plate. What I want is it to be covered all over with a nice fine mist. So I generally hold mine, so my polyplate's at arm's length, and then my spritzer is like next to my body. Yeah, so it's almost like you're doing archery. Yeah, and I'm just going to spritz, and you can see I'm moving my spritzer all the time as well to get that gentle mist. And can you see we've got lots and lots of little bubbles on there? I'm just going to do another couple, and I am just layering it up nice and gently. Now can you see, if I hold it on the white paper you might be able to. There we go. So you can see we've got lots and lots of bubbles, and our ink is just about to start moving. So you can see here we've already got the blue and the pink that's mixed together, and here. So it's just about to start mixing and merging. And then if you want to be really neat, I've got, because obviously I've spritzed it, I've got water all over my base plate. So a really good habit to get into is to just wipe around, because you can see how much water is actually on there. Just wipe around your polyplate, so that if you were to rock and roll when you put your print down, you're not going to get any bits from around the edges on it. So there you go. I'm just going to turn it over and give it a quick splat. There you go. And that's the bit I love, where I see all the colours. It's like little fireworks, isn't it, all going off. And there you go. We've got a nice little smooshy polyplate print. And I do think it just looks really nice, really quick background. So I'm just going to give that a quick blast with the heat gun. It does take a little bit to dry it because you have added quite a lot of water to it. There we go. But that water was all over, it wasn't just in patches. Yep. There you go. Just checking it's dry. One smooshed poly plate. So if I put that to one side, I'm going to do it again, but we're going to do it slightly different. So the idea is we want our colours to mix and merge, don't we? So it works beautifully if you want to do, I didn't pull these colours out, so just bear with while I grab my colours to do ombres, because I do think we're coming into ombre season, aren't we? With those lovely gorgeous sunsets we see. And we can get a beautiful print from our poly plates. Oh, I can't get my words out. So again, I'm going to start off and I'm going to put all my colour, my palest colour. So I've got fossilised amber, ripe persimmon and fire brick. Basically, I went for a yellow, an orange and a red. Yep, I wasn't too picky on this one. You just want yellow, orange and red. So I'm going to go all over with my yellow. And it's always the same technique. You're going to put all your inks down. When you're using inks, if you're using oxides, it's slightly different. You have to do them one at a time. But inks, we can get away with popping them all down at once. So there we go. We've got our yellow. We're going to have our orange. And for this one, I'm going to go diagonal. Now, yeah, that one. And you'll notice I don't want a straight line because very rarely are the colours in our sunsets straight lines. As you can see, I just move my ink pad around. So I've got about 1/3 of the yellow. I'm going to leave about 1/3 of my orange and then 1/3 of my fired brick. Again, I'm just popping that in that bottom corner. There we go. And then I'm going to spritz. So again, none of this. We want arm's length and just an all over mist. I suppose I should say mist, not spritz. So you can see we've got those lovely bubbles starting to form. I'm going to go for one more on there. There we go. Yep, lovely bubbles starting to form. I'm going to tidy up the plate because I do think when you go to the effort of using a shaped poly plate to create these beautiful backgrounds, it's such a shame if you don't embrace the white space. And I know that's odd coming from me. And then I'm just going to turn that over and I'm going to do exactly the same again. Give it a press. Look at that for autumn. You can see completely missed there, but the yellow's picked it up, so we're all right. Now, the only difference with this one, when I come to pick this up, I'm going to lift it to this darker corner so that if I've got any bits of water or ink that's moving around, it's going to go down to this end. So basically the darker stuff doesn't cover over our paler stuff. There we go. So we have gorgeous little ombre going on there. And I'm just wiping my poly plate down. I am being a good girl today. Normally I end up with them covered. Let's give that one a spritz, a quick dry as well. You can see, can't you, how beautiful that is. That lovely deep red, our orange and our yellow. Go. So we've got a bit of a smoosh going on and we've got a bit of an ombre sunset going on too. So I did that, and I know exactly how much water to put on, don't I? So this time, I'm going to do it again. There we go. And I'm just going to do a quick smoosh again. And I keep saying, keep your spirits at arm's length, don't I? There we go. Let's just get this inked up. I should have chosen a smaller one, shouldn't I? Wouldn't have made it as hard for myself. There we go. Quite a bit of blue on that one. And we're going to have a bit of pink as well. I do get carried away, don't I? Just keep going. Now, if we do this, can you see? It's all just moved straight away. So that's why I'm always going on about it, aren't I? Make sure you keep your spritzer at a nice distance. If you've got this, when you turn it over, all it's going to do is start to drip, and we really don't want that, because that's where you end up with like splodges on your card. So I'm just going to dab that off. There we go. And I'm going to spritz it. So again, arm's length. There we go. And yes, I'm going to end up with a slightly paler bit there because I have removed most of my ink. I'm going to be a good girl and wipe around the edge. I know. It's shocking because I don't normally. I get that carried away. I just want to start splodging with them. Now, at weekend as well, I got asked a lot whether we can use these with stamping platforms. And absolutely, just be careful how much water you add, because all that's going to happen when you lift it up is all your ink and all your water is going to run to your hinges. Yep. And you don't want to really decorate your hinges, do you? So just make sure you've got those little bubbles, not puddles, on your plate when you're doing this. There we go. So we've got that in front of us. Now, I want to make a bit more of an effort around the edges. So I am going to grab, I'm going to go pink actually. And I'm just going to put a little bit of a frame on. And so to do this, let me grab another piece of paper so you can see what I'm doing. There we go, I'm going to pop that down there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ink pad and I'm going to apply it to this side. And I know it looks daft because I'm working across myself, but it's the easiest way I've found to do it, because I can rest this bit on my poly mount, on my base, and then just drag my ink. So I could go like that and drag. So can you see I've got a tiny bit of pink? But what I like to do is splat it like that, and then you've got full control over how much ink you want to pop onto your plate. So I'm going to go a little bit heavier handed, I think. Me, heavy handed, never. There we go. But you can hear that bit of my ink pad just tapping against my poly mount. And all I'm going to do with this is just create a nice little frame. Oops. Put my lid back on before I end up sticking my hand in there. And then we're just going to line it back up. Now, if you're using your stamping platform, yours would be lined up perfectly. Whereas mine, oops, I put that down before I'd even started them, before I'd finished lining it up. There you go, so I'm just going to give it a quick, and we get that gorgeous edge to it. We could do the same with our ombre one we did, but I do think it looks lovely when you put the frame on. Oops. Throwing my spritzer at me, it's never a good look, that is it? So I'm going to do exactly the same on this one. So again, I'm going to ink in this hand, just pop it there, and you can even kind of wiggle it a little bit if you're not too sure. There we go. Keep right around the edge. Just have to be careful, because if you've got dangly sleeves like I have today, you end up colouring your sleeve as well. There you go, and round again. And then before I do anything, you can see all that ink I've got around this one. I'm just going to tidy that up. There we go. And we're going to lie this one down on top as well. Oh, that one was quite close actually. There you go. I'm not pressing in the middle on this one. I'm just literally doing the edges where my ink is, and I'm just going to pick it up. And because you'll notice on this one our polyplate print was dry, so when we put our there you go, when we put our frame around it, it wasn't wet, so that ink hasn't really moved. So you've got all the lovely texture from around our plate. Whereas on this one, because I've not even dried that yet, have I? Yeah, you can see the ink's hit it and gone. Yeah, because there was moisture there, and it's doing what it does, and it moves when it's wet. Yeah, so you can see you can get different. Hold it like that. There you go. You can see, can't you, the different effects you get. So this one was dry when we did our frame. This one was wet. I'm actually going to just dry that one because I'd forgotten that I haven't dried it at all. Making sure it's lovely and dry, so that now if we go and stamp anything else over the top, it's all going to work really well together. There we go. So you can see we've got our polyplate print, and then we've got the one that we've just added the frame to, which I think just really makes a statement of those edges, especially with some of the fancy dancy edge ones we've got, like the distressed or the painted ones. They've got such lovely edges that it's a shame not to put a frame on it, I think, sometimes. There we go. Two lovely prints, and then we've got our ombre as well. So should we make a card? Now I've done these on scraps, which means I'm going to have to cut them down. Or, you know what? I'll move them to one side, and we're going to quickly just do two more prints. We're going to do our smoosh first, onto a piece that I've already got cut. So this is a 5x7 that's been cut down, so it's about 4 3/4, 4.5 even, by 6.5, won't it? Oh, my maths isn't mathing today. And what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to swap out, if I can, really quickly, there we go. I'm going to swap out the pink and show you what it's like with wilted violet, because I know people do ask. She says, and I think I've just thrown it on the floor. Yes, I did. Oh no, I didn't. It was just a dusty Concord. The lid fell off, so bear with me 1 second. They always seem to do that, my inks. Whenever they fall off the shelf, they always end up with a lid. And my carpet's really dark, so you end up then having to like go on a hunt for the lid. There we go. Right, that should be wilted violet. It is. So we're going to do exactly the same thing. The orange one does look amazing, doesn't it? But again, yes, I've used my, no matter what, and I'll show you in a minute actually. As long as you've got a yellow, an orange and a red, you're going to get a similar effect. How intense those colours are obviously will affect the intensity of your ombre, but I do love ombres. I think sometimes they're just nice, aren't they, to put with like a silhouette of a flower or something like that. So again, all over with my cracked pistachio, peacock feathers, and as with everything, using your poly plates, it's one of those things, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And then this time, we're going for a bit of wilted violet. Sorry, I've got a squeaky chair again. There we go. Let's see if that's better. So I'm just popping little bits of wilted violet this time. She says, and she put lots on there. And I'm going to say it because I say it every time. I'm going to spritz, and it's going to be at arm's length. Oops, no it's not, because I nearly spritzed. And this one, I've gone for a little bit wetter. Yeah, so can you see it's just starting to move. It's not moving, but it's nearly moving. So we've got a lot of water on there. I'm just going to tidy this up, because this we are going to make a card out of. Oops, my tissue's a bit soggy. So this time I really don't want inky pinky, so no pressure. And I'm just going to flip it. And I'm just going to pop it into... See, wilted violet or picked raspberry, they both work. See, you know, I'm covering it up so you can't see. But they both work beautifully together as a trio. And why do I use 3? It's because if you just use 2, you're effectively looking at one colour or the other, whereas if you use 3 colours... Morning, Suze. Yeah, can always catch up later, can't we? Be here or on YouTube, and I will. I've got it on my to-do list to go and clean up our YouTube channel a little bit and get things easier to find. Yep. So I'm just going to dry this because I want that lovely textured effect. Yep. So I want this nice and dry. Nearly dry. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab that wilted violet again. I am being naughty and working on top of myself again. Yep. And I'm just putting a white piece of card under there so you can see what I'm doing. But it is good to have something like a white piece of card underneath there so you can see how much and how far you're coming into the poly plate. Yeah, because sometimes it's nice to have a surprise. Other times, you know, if you're me, you've gone a bit heavy handed and it's like, oh, I didn't mean that, and you've ended up with ink in the middle. Yeah, because you've just caught your pad. Like here, can you see I've caught... No, you can't. I've got some purple ink in the middle there. All it is I've caught the edge of my poly plate, my ink pad, sorry. So because it's on the white card, I can see I've caught it. So let's just go and get rid of it. And that bit that I've done over there as well. That's a messy monkey. And you can tell as well I hadn't quite dried my poly plate because it's starting to bubble a little bit, the ink. But it's okay, we'll still have a lovely effect from it. And I'm just going to come and pop this down here. Now, I am trying to line mine up, she says. Oh, that's nowhere near. She says she's trying to line it up. What does look nice sometimes is if you do move it slightly so you've got a bit of a dropped shadow on there. That looks pretty cool. Yeah. So we've got that one. I'm going to keep working on this one and then we'll do an ombre one. So where did I put my stamps? There they are. They were where I thought they were going to be. So I am going to start off with, I'm going to start off with our dotties because I do like this one. So I'm going to grab one of our new texture stamps, which I don't think I've added to the website yet, but I will. I will do it today. I've got 2 things to go and do them. Well, 4 things to go and do, because there's 3 of these. So I've just popped it onto my base, and then it's a tough one now. Do I go for my blue or do I go for my cracked pistachio? Normally I would take my biggest texture and go to my palest colour, but I don't think it's going to stand out enough. So what I'm actually going to do is take my peacock feathers for this one, because I want to use my wilted violet for my second texture. So I'm just going to pop this here, I'm going to twist it around, and the beauty of these corner textures is they're a corner, so they're all ready. There's no masking, there's no nothing. We just splodge it on, give it a press, and we're done. I'll do exactly the same with this one. Just butt it up into that corner, which is actually a little bit easier because I put that frame on it. So you won't see if I go over as much, if my lining up wasn't quite right. There we go. So I've got some dotties on there, and then it looks cool already, doesn't it? I'm going to use my circles that goes with it. I'm going to use that gorgeous wilted violet, but I could have stuck with my pink and it would have worked just as well. But I wanted to give you another colour option, another colour combination even. And then, I've not done this very easy for me to hold, have I? There you go. So I'm going to pop this down here. And again, I'm just butting it up to the edges. Got that beautiful wilted violet. And again, I should have put it easier on my stamp to hold my stamp base. There we go. And there we have a really, really simple background. Let me just give that a quick wipe, because we're going to do the other one. There we go. So we have got our smoosh, yeah, and you can see how it's gone from that to that, yeah, just by we've added our frame and then we've just added a little bit of texture on the top. Really quick, easy background to do. And then we're going to do exactly the same with our other one. So we're going to do an ombre on this one. Ooh, there it is. Couldn't see for looking. It was there somewhere. Move them to one side. And we're going to do our ombre. So we want yellow all over. So just like we did before, cover it in our yellow. And then we're going to do our orange. So again, we're working in thirds here, so we want about a third of yellow left, and then we're going to do a third of orange. And remember, I'm forever doing this, it's reversed. So if I want on my finished card to have it higher on this side, yeah, I need to make it higher on this side on my poly plate, because obviously when you come to stamp it in a minute, it all reverses on you, doesn't it? There we go. So we've got a bit of our orange, and then we're going to grab our fired brick. I was going to change these, wasn't I? And we've got our fired brick at the bottom there. So again, spritz it until we have got those lovely, lovely bubbles. Again, I've gotten a little bit more heavy-handed this time. And it's just how much you want it to move. So if you want to move it, you need to add a little bit more water. If you want to leave some of the texture, not so much water. I think I need new tissue, don't I? It's not really moving the water. There we go. I'll put my tissue in the bin, so I have to get a new one this time. And we're just going to pop this down again. And then remember with these ones, because it's got a darker side, that's what we're going to lift to. We're just going to lift very gently. And the key is to this is to do it gently. So if you end up with a bit of a puddle of water like that, or puddle of ink at this point, isn't it? If you lift it off too quick, you end up with bits like spiking out, a bit like when you blow ink, yeah? So if you don't want that, just pick it up very, very gently. I'm just going to give it a quick dry. And the beauty of polyplates is you will never get two that are the same. They'll be similar, but not the same. Because you'll add different inks in different places, you'll add different amounts of each ink. Got a bit of a wet puddle in that corner. I think they're really quick and easy backgrounds, and generally they work out. And even if you get a print that you don't like the colour of, keep it, because you will find it will make a beautiful butterfly or something at some point. You know, to stamp an image over the top and then cut out, or even die cut shapes from. So if you're not keen on a polyplate print, always keep them, because they will come in handy. And I can tell I've not done that many polyplates recently, because I haven't got, I used to have like a big stash of prints I wasn't too keen on, or ones I'd ended up with inky pinkies on, and they just sit in a bucket and I can go and grab them for like the odd butterfly here and there, or a flower head, and I haven't got that at the moment, so I know I haven't been doing them as much. There we go. Again, I'm just going to tidy that up because it is everywhere. Let's get this lined up again. Try and get it somewhere close, girl. Oh, close-ish. That will do, won't it? Close-ish. There we go. I'm just going to take that off very carefully. And then I'm going to pop my poly plate. There it is. No, it's not. Not sure what I've done with my acetate for that, but I will find it shortly. And then I'm going to do exactly the same, but this time I'm going to use one of the other texture stamps. So I'm going to use the bubble wrap and distress on this one. There we go. So again, because I want that red to be my top layer, well, do I on this one? I don't think I do, because that bubble wrap's quite solid. So I'm going to go with my fossilised amber. See, I change my mind a lot, don't I? Ooh, we'll see if it works. If it doesn't, we'll go over with a slightly different one. So again, I'm just butting it up into the corner of our poly plates. Oh no, definitely the right one. I'm going to twist it around and we're going to do the same again in the other corner. Just line it up in that top corner. There we go, and that's what I love about the oxides. Can you see how, yes, we put fossilised amber over the top of those reds, but it's made it such a much deeper colour. Yeah. And then we're going to grab our bubble wrap. We're going to do the same again, but we're going to use our orange. So again, we're just using the colours we've got in our background. We're not adding to it. We're not using more colours, we're just keeping those gorgeous ones we've already got and have worked really well. I'm going to pop in here. There we go, and then we're just going to turn it around. Now I am pleased I took the palest two colours, not our fired brick on that one. I think it would have gone a bit too dark. So again, we're just going to pop it in this bottom corner. Oops. I moved that one. Eek. You can see I just smudged it a little bit there. But again, never hadn't I pointed it out. And then let's just give this a quick blast with the heat gun so we can get stamping some flowers on here as well and get these finished off. Well, I'm not going to finish them off because I haven't got a sentiment to put on them, but we'll get them closer. There we go. So, flower time. And this one is screaming out this one, and it's going to come and stand right here. Yeah, and then I've just got enough room down there to pop a little saying in when I find one. I need my black ink. Oops. So lots of gentle tapping. Make sure you covered the whole stamp, she says. I'm just going to pop this on here. There we go. Flower head, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stamp the flower head and the petals again onto some scrap. Move that to one side, and we can stamp that flower head up. And I also want them petals, no, leaves. Petals are a bit on my flower, aren't they? There we go. Pop that back on there, and then I think I'm going to stamp the other one as well whilst we're here. So that one's that one, and then this one's a tricky one, isn't it? I think we might do this one on here. Yeah, let's have that one on there. That one will work quite well. real quick. Just covered my stamping ink there as well. Where's my tissue gone? There we go. And I'm just going to pop this right in the middle because I think this one looks perfect for the middle. There we go. And then again, I just want to grab that piece will do. Oops, I lost my tissue. This little flower head. And now it's time to colour. Well, we need to dry them, don't we? If we don't dry them, then we're just causing ourselves a bit of a pickle. So I'm just going to give these a really quick dry. It's only now drying them I can see I didn't stamp that one very well. Whoa, that'll be alright. Give this one a quick one too. And for quickness, I am going to use Distress inks to colour in because I think, there we go, we're going to use Fired Brick for that one. And then I think we are going to use pink. I picked raspberry for that one. And then I just need green. Normally I'd use like oxides or something, so we'll bring in a different medium. But because we've been using Distress inks today, and we've embraced them for our, there we go, peel paint. I couldn't find my peel paint then. Because we've embraced them for our polyplates, I'm going to just keep with them. And use them. So just like I would with my oxides, pop it down on my desk. Okay, quick spritz. And then build your colour up. So water first. Again, don't have to be too precise with my colouring in on here, because these lovely sketchy images work really well for kind of spodgy colouring in. There we go, we're just going to keep adding little bits too. Okay. And then on this one as well, I always forget it, but there's a little bit of green just on your flower head as well. And forever I colour it in and then it's like, oh, I forgot to do that bit, and I end up having to put ink back on my desk to colour it in. Got something moving on my desk, I don't know if you can quite hear, it's like knocking every time I start painting, or moving even. Oops, I just splodged my flower. I'll do the quick petals on here. Keep adding to it until you are happy. There we go. And I'll pink for this one, don't I? My lovely pink. Again, go on very gently to begin with. And then I'm just drying out my brush a little bit, and then we're going to start going in with a little bit deeper on our colour. And again, we know these colours will work well together. So for this one, I've gone for a complete contrast to our magical background. And on the other one, I've used one of the colours we've already got in our polyplate print. There we go. How easy is that to do though? Move that to one side. Let's grab our fired brick. But it's the same whether we're using our brushes, our oxides, our inks. We just add a diluted layer of the colour and then just build it up. It's always easier to add than it is to take away, isn't it? You do end up in a pickle, or I always end up in a pickle if I go too dark to begin with. You can see I'm not being precise at all with my colouring in. Just dry my brush out again and just add a bit more in here. It's really, really quick to do. I like the corner ones. They are fun to work with, those corner stamps. But they're so quick as well. So if you're a little bit stuck and you can't be bothered masking, because you can tell that's where it came from, wasn't it? That I'm being a lazy and I can't be bothered masking. So it's like, you know what? I can have a stamp that does it for me. Which, to be honest, is how most of our stamps come about, isn't it? There we go. I'm quite happy with that. Wherever my water's gone there. But you just pop your polyplate down, pop your textures over. You don't have to use your polyplate with your textures, but I think they work really well together. It's one of those minimal effort, isn't it? But it does have an amazing look. You get a really lovely card from it. And I'm not going to stick these together because I will find some sentiments to go on them and finish them off properly. The idea of today was to inspire you with your polyplates. So I had a real fun at weekend using them. So again, I'm going to cut this out and I'm going to cut out that border because it's going to make it pop. We've got all that colour going on in the background. By having that little white border around our flower head, it is just going to make it pop off the page, and that's what we want, don't we? We want it to pop. And again, I'm not doing the best cutting out in the world. Oops. There's that one. That's not that one, is it? That's that one. How beautiful does that look? And I'm just going to quickly do the same with these two. But you've got a really simple card. again as we start to pop this together. You can see as soon as you put that little white border on, whether it's your flower head or your leaves, they do just pop. So that's as your mat and layer, doesn't it? And you might be asking, well, why didn't you just stamp it all and cut it all out? Well, that stalk gets very, very fine, and it becomes very, very fiddly, whereas the flower heads and the leaves are a lot easier just to cut out. So do your stalk on background. And then do your flower heads and cut them out. It's just that little bit easier. And that's going to go there like so. And like I say, I will grab a sentiment to finish these off. So I'm not going to stick it all down. Oh, there you go, found a piece of acetate. Don't know where that one's come from. And I'm just going to mat it up onto our cards from weekend. But they're really simple to do. Oops, didn't mean to stick that on there. I've got my other one there. So we've got a bit of a smoosh poly plate going on with our lovely cracked pistachio, peacock feathers, and then we've used wilted violet on this one. And on that one, there's my piece of acetate for my poly plate. On this one we used our picked raspberry. That was the same, so cracked pistachio, peacock feathers and picked raspberry, and then that was our ombre using fossilized amber, ripe persimmon, however you say that one, and fired brick. So there you go. Like I say, I will finish them and I will pop a little sentiment on them before I stick them all down. I love poly plates. They're just an instant way of adding colour to our makes. And then now we've got texture stamps that have corners. How easy is it to make that? Literally is a bish bash bosh, isn't it? So that is it for me today. I will be putting those texture stamps on the website this afternoon, so watch out for them, because I know a few of you have been asking for them, and there was something else as well. It'll come back to me. We'll be back Monday night at 7 for some more monthly make fun. I do hope you can join me then. Thank you for joining me this morning. Do take care, stay safe, and I will see you all on Monday at 7 for some more monthly make. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.